6 months into my marriage, I remember getting on my knees and praying, God, please take her back. I think this is the wrong woman. She'd give me the silent treatment and I would literally be dying. I'd just get so mad at my wife and say to her, why don't you just tell me how you feel? How do I get this girl to open her mouth and tell me what she's thinking? That's it, man. I'm gonna teach her a lesson. I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna leave you for at least a week and let's see how you feel. There's gonna be so many arguments. You better figure out how to forgive each other quickly. When I saw my wife for the very first time, something told me in my head and in my heart, this was the woman that I was going to marry. This was her. Within 24 hours, we went on our first date. And at the end of the date, I asked her, would you like to get married? And she said yes. 8 months later, we actually got married. I remember in that process, the specific day when I got on my knees and I was praying to God, saying, God, help me marry this girl. I've fallen in love with her. She's so beautiful. If you can just help me to marry her, I'll believe in you forever. But then 6 months into my marriage, I remember getting on my knees and praying again, saying, God, please take her back. I think this is the wrong woman because everything changed. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful at the beginning. I just turned 20 when we got married and she was still 19. I mean, what do we know about marriage and relationships? The only relationship I had before I married my wife was with another girl, which lasted 1 week. But that was it. My whole life, I didn't have any relationships with any other girl until I met my wife. But what happened was this. The first 6 months of our marriage was fantastic. And then all of a sudden, something weird started happening. We started arguing so much and I couldn't figure out why. Every little thing would irritate my wife or I'd lose my patience. It took me years later to actually realize what was actually going on in that particular time. So when me and my wife, we got married, we never had our own place. As soon as we got married, we were living with my brother and his wife and their kids. This is the environment that I brought my wife into. So a lot of times in the evenings, me and my brother, we'd go to play pool. And I wouldn't realize how pissed she was until I got back because I had a long day and she had a long day, but then I had an escape. I could just go with my brother and go play pool. And she's thinking, what about me? You just left me at home. Why didn't you take me out? And I'm thinking, yeah, over here, my brother wants me to go to play pool. I didn't know you wanted me to take you somewhere. I thought you just wanted to chill. And so it was like, I was always trying to read. What is she trying to say? I always got it wrong. It was almost like I'd just get so mad at my wife and say to her, why don't you just tell me how you feel? And she'd always come back and say, well, how comes you just don't know? And I'm thinking, I'm not a mind reader. Just tell me how you feel. If you didn't want me to go play pool last night, why didn't you just say it? Well, I thought you'd just know. And I'm like, my God, this is so complicated. You know, years later, I look back at that situation and it dawned on me that I did not have any emotional intelligence regarding my wife. It's like, why didn't I think about how she was feeling? Because if I had gone back to that situation now and think, okay, I'm going out there a number of times with my brother, playing pool, having a great time. What I should have done is at the same time did the same with my wife, but I wasn't doing it. I was just trying to chill out and go with my brother. So what was my wife supposed to do? Tell me that I couldn't go and have fun? If she now says that, all of a sudden now she's going to look like the tyrant in the house. Like, I can't keep telling you can't go out with your brother just to have fun. But at the same time, then I'm leaving her at home in an environment that maybe she feels lonely. If I'd only just put myself in her position, knowing that she's not even in her own house. She's in my family's house and I'm leaving her alone. So what do I expect? I should have balanced it more. I shouldn't have used the excuse that I didn't know any better. I should have wisened up a little, and it took many, many years to figure that part out. You know, one of the things that my wife liked about me at the beginning is I was fun-natured. We'd have a blast. I'd always try to make her laugh. And then after we got married, it was like she'd be saying to me things like, why'd you say that? I said, I'm just joking. She goes, no, you weren't. You said it. I said, I'm just being sarcastic. I said, I don't really actually mean it that way. I was just, seeing how you would react. She goes, well, I don't like that. And it was just weird that I come from England and a lot of people are sarcastic. And I somehow got that in my nature. If my wife has a pet peeve, something she doesn't like, I would sort of prod it a little. And I would say something sarcastic in my mind thinking, okay, you know what? If she can take this, she'll get stronger. But all it did was just piss her off. And I'd say to her, yeah, but I'm just doing it so you could take the hit and give it back to me. She goes, no, I ain't talking to you now for a week. And I'm like, That doesn't work. So one thing I learned is my wife has absolutely no sense of humor when it comes to sarcasm. She cannot take it. Whatever that comes out of this mouth, she's gonna literally take it for whatever is coming out. That's how she thinks that I mean it. Doesn't matter what other meaning that I have behind the words. You know, there was times like, for example, she'd put on a dress or a special outfit and I would say to her, holy cow, that looks really sexy. And she goes, okay, I ain't wearing it then. I'm like, what? I said, I just told you it looks really sexy. She goes, I don't want to look sexy. I thought, just because I said I should have kept it inside. I'm like, whatever you're wearing right now is just driving me crazy. She goes, I definitely ain't gonna wear this. And I'm like, God, I should have kept it inside. So those kind of things, you know, were pissing me off. I says, next time you wear something that, you know, drives the blood, you know. I said, no, I'm just not gonna say it anymore. I just smile and say, yeah, you look very pretty. You know, one of the things that attracted me to my wife was she was actually really quiet. And I loved that about her. She'd be quiet. She'd be sitting there smiling away and listening to me and stuff. And I'm like, man, she's so damn cute. I just look at her face and I'm thinking, I love the way her eyes are, her lips, her hair, her beautiful face. I'd just fall in love with her and she'd just sit there and it looked like there was like this magical smile on her face. So when she's not talking, I'm feeling like good. What started happening was I realized I wasn't good at reading her face because I'd look at her face and to me it looked like it was a smile. But later on I realized it wasn't a smile. She's pissed. But I'm thinking, man, I can't figure out, is she pissed or does she have that smile? And I years later I told her, I said, look, I can't figure your smile out. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, if I look right now, I know you're pissed at me, but you look like you're smiling and I can't figure this out. This is driving me nuts. So are you mad or are you smiling? And she'll smile and she'll go, I'm really mad. I'm thinking, oh my God, but you don't look mad. This was the crazy part because I'd go up to her and, you know, I start tickling her and, hey, what a guys want? Well, when I'm in that mood, I'm tickling her and she's smiling, she's hitting me with her elbow and I'm thinking she's playful. But really, she's telling me, get the hell out of here. And I'm like, why don't you notify your face? Because I keep thinking, yeah, bring it on, man, bring it on. But looking at her face, she had me like so confused because it was like, why don't you just tell me how you're feeling? What do you want? What you don't want, because I can't figure it out. And years later, I said to her, I says, okay, you know what? We have to come to this truth. If I'm looking at your face right now, I know you're pissed, but you look like you got a beautiful smile on your face. So what I want you to do from now on, if you want me to stop doing something, like if I'm poking her a little bit and she goes, stop it. Then I go, okay. Then I'll do a little bit more. And she'll say, I told you to stop it. I'm thinking, yeah, but you're smiling. I told you, leave me alone. So I said to her, I want you to say the word please. Just add the word please in there. Please stop it. Then no matter how your face looks, I'll know this is a danger zone. She used the word please. And anytime she uses the word please, that's it. I know she's pissed even though she doesn't look it. Well, one of the things that really used to piss me off in our relationship at the beginning was because she was quiet. If I did something wrong or we got into an argument, all of a sudden she'd stop talking to me. As the months went by, I started opening up more, and sometimes the filter between my brain and my mouth, that filter in between that stops things from coming out, I sort of lost that filter, and it was like, man, I'd think of something and it just come right out of my mouth, and I'm thinking, shit, why the hell did I say that? This one time I said, you're just like such and so. Oh my God, I shouldn't have named somebody. I named somebody and I said, you just acting like that person. And she gave me that look like she wants to kill me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. And then all of a sudden she didn't talk to me. And it wasn't just for one day. Man, she never talked to me for like a week. And it was driving me insane because I'm thinking, I'm sorry. I even said to her, I'm sorry. Didn't matter. She'd give me the silent treatment and I would literally be dying because I didn't know how to resolve this situation. It happened so many different times. I'd say something stupid. Sometimes it would be my tone. I'd say something to her and she goes, why did you have to say it like that? And I'd say it like what? Because I'm a little bit loud and I get a little passionate and I'll say it. She goes, the tone. You just used that tone, the way you said it. I said, I just got a little excited. What do you mean the tone? She goes, it's not right the way you're saying saying it. And I'm thinking, how should I say it then? Well, you should have said it like this, 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 this. And I'm thinking, man, there's these little things that I just can't stop that bugged the crap out of her, because it was like, I'd get passionate, it'd come out of my mouth, bang, it was the tone. I'd say something else, well, you're just like that person. And I'm being sarcastic, joking, and she goes, really? And bang, another week she won't talk to me. And it was like driving me crazy because I couldn't put that filter back between my brain and my mouth. How do I get that thing in there to stop the shit coming out before she gets pissed? And I'm thinking, this is driving us crazy. And it got to the point where we got so mad at each other. I remember this one day, I couldn't take it anymore. I said, that's it. And I just started packing all my stuff. I grabbed some clothes, I grabbed a bag, put the stuff, and in my head I'm going, that's it, man. I'm gonna teach her a lesson. I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna leave you for at least a week, and let's see how you feel, right? So I grabbed all this stuff, put it in bags, and I went outside the house. I went over to my car, and I just threw the stuff in there. And in my head I'm thinking, just gonna walk away for 1 week. I'm not even gonna talk to her. I get in the car, and I thought to myself, shit, where the hell am I gonna go? I'm thinking, where am I gonna go? I was so pissed at her because we were arguing that I just went into the car, and I'm thinking, where am I gonna go? And next minute I had a thought, yeah, I'm just gonna check into a hotel and just stay there for a week and not even talk to her, not call her. And then I heard this little voice in my head, you stupid idiot, you don't even have the money for a hotel. I didn't have the money for the hotel. And would you believe it? After about half an hour sitting in that damn car, I came right back out, grabbed all my stuff, and went back into the house because I'm thinking, this is stupid. It was just emotional. It was so uncontrolled emotion. We didn't know how to resolve issues between us. I would lash out and she would just go quiet. And there were times when I'd grab something and I'd throw it at the wall, I'd smash something because I just didn't know how to resolve it. But she would go into a little shell and not say anything, and I was so frustrated, started breaking things to a point where it was like, okay, this is costing me. Next time I lose my temper, I ain't breaking nothing because I don't have the money to go buy that again. And so I started learning, okay, you calm the shit down, man. You're losing it. Your temper's too volatile. I didn't take it out on her. I just took it out on something that was close by because I didn't know, how do I get this girl to open her mouth and tell me what she's thinking? I didn't know how to get her to do that. And years later, I realized forgiving each other was one of the greatest secrets that I learned. You gotta get to the point where you can forgive somebody. One of the things that I did years back, because I couldn't figure this shit out, man. I couldn't actually sit in front of her and have a discussion with her about a problem that we had. It was so difficult because she wouldn't open up and the wrong words would be coming out of my mouth, or I'd say something and it's going on track, and then all of a sudden she would say something and I'd get upset. Why'd you say it like that? I had it all laid out. This is the way I was going to say it, and you just screwed everything up. So that happened so many times. I remember this one time I went into my office and I sat down and I said, okay, I can't talk to her face to face because she always somehow, takes it this way or takes it that way. So I just wrote her a letter. I wrote a letter on how I was feeling, what my reaction was, and how apologetic I was, and how I feel now, and what I did wrong. So I wrote that letter, and it really did help tremendously until the next time I put my foot in it again. Right? So one of the things I would tell myself, my younger self, is that you got to understand how to resolve conflict. When we were in an issue, my wife would be quiet, and I'd be the kind of person who's like, okay, just tell me, what did I say wrong? How can we solve this? Let's do it right now. And she'd be looking at me with this face like, get the hell out of here. I ain't saying nothing to you. And I'm thinking like, I'm here. Let's resolve this. I'm telling you, I'm sorry. And I didn't realize, yeah, but that is not the way that she resolves issues. That's the way I resolve issues. We're going to sort it out right now. Whatever I said to you, you're going to tell me up front what I said to you. We're going to get this over with so we can get on with our lives. But that's not the way she solves issues. The way she resolves them is leave me alone. Get the hell out of here so I can calm down and I can think straight. And yeah, we'll think about resolving this maybe tomorrow or the day after, but I'm not ready to resolve anything right now. Just give me some space. And I didn't know this. There were two ways that you can resolve, and that she was not like me. And so it took me a long time to figure this out. So I would tell my younger self, hey buddy, what kind is she? Does she want to talk about it or does she want to stay quiet? Just honor the way that she wants to resolve that conflict, and it won't take as long, rather than trying to fix it and making it even worse. And sometimes when you're having issues, if there's somebody else in the room, just shut your mouth, man. And so many times I'd say something, one of the kids her in the room and I would say it and it would always come out wrong. And she would then look at me like, you had to say that in front of our son, in front of our kids? And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't mean it that way. And it was like, okay, you know what? I just dug myself another grave. So sometimes it's best, if you're ever going to have a disagreement, make sure there's nobody in the room when you open that mouth, because you can never win if there's somebody else in the room. You're always going to lose no matter what you say. You know, in the old days when we would fight or argue, my wife would start telling me something. As she's telling me stuff, in my head, I hear this voice. Okay, this is how you rebuttal. This is what you need to say now to make your point so that you can win. I'm like, so it was like she's telling me stuff, whatever it was, whether it was in an argument or just naturally saying stuff because there's an issue or a situation. In my stupid brain, I was hearing this voice that, okay, you need to solve this now. This is what you need to say. As soon as she stops talking, just give her this and she'll think you're a genius. This is what I was hearing. So I had the answer ready to give her before she's even told me everything. That always led to even worse times, but that doesn't happen anymore. Well, not that many times now. Now it's a different ball game. Now, when she's telling me something, maybe it's nothing to do with an argument. She's just explaining something to me about something that's frustrating her, whether it's from work or personal life or whatever it is. As she's telling me, I could see that she's a bit stressed, so she's explaining things. Now this little voice in my head is saying this. Okay, better keep listening. Keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything yet. Let her get it all out. I literally can hear this guy talking to me in my head. Okay, she ain't finished yet. Keep it shut. Don't say, I know you want to say something now. Don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut and just keep listening. And I'd be like, yeah. I understand. And this voice is saying, you're doing good, but not yet. Don't talk yet. Keep it closed. Let her get it all out. Can't you see? Look at her face. She's getting it all out. All that anxiety, it's coming out. And I'm thinking, and I'm having a conversation with this little voice. Yeah, you're right, man. she's actually feeling better. I ain't even said anything. Yeah, I told you, keep your mouth shut and just listen to her. And you know, when my wife is talking, I want you to know that I'm actually listening to her. I'm not just talking to this little voice in my head who's saying, don't say anything. I'm actually listening to her because I genuinely want to know how she's feeling. It's not just a little conversation between me and my little guy in my head, right? I can just imagine, if she heard that little guy and said, you ain't listening to me, you're listening to that little guy in your head. I said, no, I was listening to her. I'm genuinely listening to her. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening and I'm listening. And at the end of the conversation, I hear the little voice say, okay, just shut up yet. Don't say anything. Just leave it silent now that she's finished talking and see what happens. And then I wouldn't say anything because the voice is telling me, don't give her a solution. Don't try and fix whatever she told you. Don't fix it. Don't come out like a genius. Don't say anything. Just say, oh man, it's so tough. I understand. I feel for you, man. Not man, but it's my wife, right? I can feel your pain. I understand. Is there anything that I can do? And I'm like, holy cow. When I walk out of that room, I'm thinking, I did good. She's feeling better. I can actually feel the difference. And there's no way that I would do this years ago. She'd be arguing with me again saying, will you just shut up and let me tell you what I'm supposed to be telling you? And that doesn't happen anymore. That never happens because now I don't know where this little voice came from, but I got that little voice and it's helped me so much with my listening skills because I genuinely want my wife to get the pain out. And the only way she can do it is if I just let her talk, let her get it all out. And let's face it, what are guys doing? Guys are always trying to solve. Okay, let me solve it. I'm here to solve your problem. I'm like, no, I'm not here to solve your problem right now. Maybe I can help you to solve your problem later, but I'm genuinely here to listen. Listen to you. Listen to your hurt. Listen to your feeling. Listen to your pain. I'm interested in helping you. I'm here, right here beside you. More than anybody else. I got you. What do you want to tell me? And when my wife finally finishes what she had to tell me, this is so difficult, or was, and still is. A lot of times I'd want to give her advice. And then after I give her the advice, I realize, man, you screwed up again. You shouldn't be giving advice. You should have given her counsel. Meaning, just explain the different scenarios that you think in your mind that could happen and sort of discuss the situation. So give counsel and not advice, because who wants to hear advice? I mean, think about it. If my wife said, I think you should do this, how am I going to feel? Well, my natural natural personality would be to fight that advice and say, I got something better than that. So why would I think that my wife wouldn't feel the same way? Isn't it better to say, I'm not 100% sure which direction you might want to go. If you did this, this might happen. If you did this, this might happen. If you did this, this might happen. What do you think? That's probably a much better way to get the information across in a way that she could then utilize it and make a better decision rather than trying to tell her how to solve the problem. And the reason why you want to do this is because, think about it, as mature adults, whether you're a man or a woman, you want to come up with your own solution. You don't want to be really told like a child on what you should be doing. You want to get enough information to then make your own decision. And guys, let's face it, we always want to tell our wives, this is what I think you should do, but you're going down the wrong path if that's what we do. It's better that our wives come up with their own solution. One of the things that was always causing a big issue in our marriage in the early days is one TV, one room, one office. I remember at the beginning of our marriage, when we only had the one TV, it reminded me of me when I was like a little kid at home with my dad. Every time we'd want to get to the TV, my dad's watching BBC News and we're thinking, what the hell? This is news 24 hours a day. We could never watch anything on that TV because my dad was just infatuated with the news. And I'm thinking, my God, I've turned into my dad. So every time my wife wanted to watch something on the TV, I'd be sitting there watching the news. And every time she wanted to watch something, I'm thinking, I don't want to watch this. And it's like, man, this is not fun. We'd get into so many arguments over something stupid as a TV program. So it was happening. If I only knew in those old days, just get another damn TV, man, so you have your own space. That was really, really important. And I'll tell you something, it's absolutely a beautiful feeling when you have space in a relationship. My wife has her own TV. I have my own TV. I have my own little room where I watch that TV. She has her own little room where she watches her TV. She has her office. I have my office. We have our own little country away from each other. We have our space. She knows that if she comes into my country and she sits in front of my TV, she's going to see CNN, Fox News, or movies all the time. If I go into her country and I see her TV, I'm going to see Coronation Street, do-it-yourself, decorating the homes, or biographies. And we're in two separate worlds, but that's where we choose to just relax and be calm. I know that if I want to join my wife, I know what to expect when I go into her world. I'm not going to ask her, change the channel, put on CNN. It's only going to piss her off. And when she comes into my world, she knows what my world is like. And guess what? It's beautiful that we have these two separate worlds that we can go to because now we have space and we can chill and we can relax. And then when we want to meet each other, we just go across the two rooms and we sit with whoever we want to sit with. This, I think, is so important, is to give yourself space from each other, that little bit of distance, even in the same house, never mind across miles, just in the same house. I think it's so important that everybody should have that little space in their own homes. It'll give you that peace of mind. I remember in the early days of our marriage, my wife would go to the fridge, she'd open the fridge, she'd take out the milk. And when she took it out, she realized there was like one tiny little drop of milk left in the bag. And she looked at me and she goes, you just drank this milk and you didn't even change it. And man, oh man, off we went to another argument, right? Or, she'd open the garbage and the garbage is more than full. It's just like it's bursting out of the bag. And she's like, why couldn't you just change this? You're the one who was the last person to put the stuff in there. And I realized I was being so selfish and I wasn't even thinking about, kindness and thoughtfulness, and things were irritating her like crazy. Like if she'd come down in the morning and she'd see a whole pile of dishes in the sink, it would just totally drive her nuts. Her entire day couldn't start off in the right direction because of the mess that was sitting there. And she's thinking, who am I? A maid? Why is this stuff sitting here? Why don't you care enough to understand what it's doing to me emotionally? emotionally. And after having a number of these fights for so many years, it got to the point where, okay, Terry, you're screwing this up because you are selfish. You're not thinking about her. What about the kindness? What about the thoughtfulness that a woman wants to be with a guy because he's kind to her, he's thoughtful, he's always caring about her? It took me a long time to figure this stuff out, but when I eventually figured it out, nowadays I'd go into the fridge, I'd open the fridge, take out the milk, and as I'm pouring, I'm thinking, I can't get any more in that glass, but there's only this much left in the jug. What am I gonna do here? There's a dilemma. If I put this back, I'm gonna have an argument with my wife. I'm like, okay, I'll drink half of this glass and pour more in there and then change the bag. Why? Because I don't want to stress her out. I'm not afraid of her. I'm just thinking, okay, you know what? It's just kindness. It's just being thoughtful. So that was one. Another one was, oh, you know, this garbage is full here. I'm gonna take this out so she don't have to take it out. These dishes in the sink, they're just sitting there. I put a whole pile of stuff there. What am I gonna do? My excuse was always, well, I didn't want to wake you up. You were sleeping upstairs, so I didn't wash any of the dishes. And she's like, I don't care. Wake me up if you have to. Just wash the damn stuff that you put in the sink. So I made sure I'm gonna clean. I'm not gonna leave a mess because this is just her, the ways that she operates. If I ever go to, say, a Harvey's to go get a burger, I know what she likes from there. She likes those little fried apple pies. And if I ask her, do you want anything? And she goes, no. I know that I'm gonna buy two things, whether she says yes or no. I'm gonna buy one of those apple pies. I'm gonna get her some onion rings. She'll have a couple of those. When I come home and I put it in front of her, she'll go, oh, you got me a couple of onion rings there. She feels so good and she sees a little apple pie on my phone. I know what she likes in the Subway. I got her name in there and the ingredients. So I don't have to ask her, what do you want on this sub? I got it in my phone. I just type in her name, Subway, and bang, there's the ingredients of what she likes there. These are little things that I've realized after all these years. Wouldn't you want to live with somebody who's always thinking about how they can be kind to you, how they can be thoughtful for you? How good would that feel? And you know, when I do these things, man, it makes me feel so good. In the old days, it was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do this so that I can get lucky tonight. It wasn't like that. But it was like that before. And she always said, I know why you're doing this. I know why you cleaned those dishes. I know why you took the garbage out. Because you want something for it. There's a trade-off. But not anymore. That's not the issue. I just love it when she feels good about something that I did and there's no trade. It just makes me feel good. Like one of the things that she loved to do years ago when she told me she'd love to take salsa classes. And I'm thinking, man, I can't stand salsa classes, especially me having to dance in a way that I have no idea how to dance. But I signed us up for salsa classes. And when we went there, she said to me, I don't get it. Why did you do this? You don't even like salsa. I said, yeah, but I like you. That's why I did it. And that's where we are today. After 38 years, I want to do stuff that puts a smile on her face, that makes her feel good. Not that I want anything from her. I just feel good when she's got a smile on her face. That makes me feel good. And one of the things that has really helped us in our marriage is that we're actually both very supportive of each other's likes, dislikes, and dreams. In the early part of the marriage, my wife, when I had a dream to chase something, my wife wouldn't voice anything. She'd just go along with me. Even if she didn't want to follow my dream, she would just go along with it because we weren't living in our own house. And she was thinking, okay, if he's chasing his dream, I'm leaving too with him because I don't want to be staying in a house that's not my house. So I didn't realize till years later, she was coming with me as I was chasing my dream. And I wasn't thinking much about what her dream was. All those years, she would just keep it inside. She wouldn't tell me what her real dream was because I was so damn infatuated or possessed with my own dream. I never thought about hers. But that's not the case now. I should have listened. I should have asked her, what's your dream? What do you want to do with your life? This is what I want to do. I should have done that back when I was 20 years old. But I didn't do that, but I do it today. And I've done it for a few years now. And we all have to do it. When we get married, we get in a relationship, gotta do it right away. Gotta understand you're not there as a bully to bully your spouse into chasing your dreams. You're there to support your spouse, your partner, to become that beautiful flower that she can become by helping her chase her dreams and not just bulldoze over her dreams and just expect her to follow yours. That's what marriage is about. You know, I know the things that my wife loves loves to do. And when I know, like, she loves to paint, and when she's painting, I'm always trying to be encouraging. Say, man, that's fantastic. You're getting so good. And she is. Boy, she's an amazing painter. And she's come so far. There's no way I could do what she's doing in painting. It's brilliant. And so every time she does it, it just feels so good that I am looking at her thinking, man, that's her passion, that's her dream. And it just feels so good to encourage her and to keep helping her, pushing her in a nice way. She doesn't like to be pushed, but encouraging her to completely progress in that dream of hers. And she loves to travel. And so I tell her, wherever you want to go, I got you. You can go. And in the same way, she's never held me back from something that I wanted to do. She's always allowed me to do whatever I want to do, whatever I like, whatever dream I've had. She's always been there to support me. But the way she supports me is different than the way I support her. She doesn't encourage me like a cheerleader. Yeah, you can do it. Terry Gogner, go do it. She don't do that. I want her to do it, but she doesn't do that. She just backs off and allows me to do it in a way that she says, you don't need me to encourage you. Just do it. I know you've got the drive inside of you. You don't need me to say, go do it, big boy. And I'm thinking, but I do. I want you to tell me, yes, you can do it. You can do it. She says, I ain't doing it. So I live with that. I've accepted the fact that I'm never going to get her saying to me, you can do it. She's just going to allow me to chase my own dream with the enthusiasm and passion that I have. And that is a great place in our marriage because we know that we can do anything we want in our own personal lives within our marriage, and our spouse will support us rather than to try to put us down and say, what are you thinking about that for? Stop dreaming. That ain't going to happen. How would you like to live like that with somebody for the rest of your life? It's a great feeling when you know you always have the love and support from the person you love and support the most. I would say this is the most important part of why my marriage after 38 years is where it is today. And that is, we can all be nice to each other. For whatever reason you want to be nice. If you're trying to be kind or thoughtful, the key is, why are you doing what you're doing for your spouse? What's the ulterior motive? Do you have one? What's really inside your heart? And you know, for years, I remember at this one time in my life where things were not going good. And I was so angry with God. And I remember the prayer. And I said to God, God, it's not fair. I should have so much more money than I have now. Why are you stopping me from being successful? I've seen other people who don't work as hard as I do. And yet I'm nowhere near as financially successful as them. I should have more money. Why are you stopping me? And in my prayers, I got this answer. And the answer was something that I never expected in my life. The answer came back and said, if you had the financial success that you think that you deserve, you would screw up your life. Fix your heart. The problem is your heart. You fix your heart and eventually you will have what you want. And I didn't understand that until a few years later. And the bottom line is this: if I had a lot of money back when I was having problems with my wife, we would not be married today. We would be divorced. I would have destroyed my family. Because if I had all the money that I needed at the time, it wouldn't take 2 seconds. As soon as we have that argument, I'm out of here. Remember when I go into my car and I took all that stuff in the car and I was heading to a hotel? Well, I would have gone. And who knows, I might never have come back. But because I had money issues and I was building my relationship with God, I kept hearing, fix your heart. If you fix your heart, all your other problems will solve themselves. And I realized as I started building my spiritual relationship with God, my heart started changing. I started caring more for my wife, how she was feeling, because deep down in my heart it was like, I love my wife, I want to be there for her, I love her, and I want her to be happy. And so that feeling of wanting to love her, that came from my relationship with God. Because think about it, when you have a really bad argument with your wife and she hurts you and you hurt her with words where you say really bad things to each other, you might swear and you might curse each other in such a way that you say, if you did this, if you were more more like this, and you just say hurtful shit out of your mouth to try to hurt the other person. How do you ever heal? How do you heal that? And to me, I realized I was able to forgive my wife because of the relationship I had with God. Every time I prayed, God would say, listen, you need to forgive your wife. If you keep saying you love me, prove your love to me by loving your wife. You need to love her more. Don't come to me saying, I love you, God, and then treat her like shit. You need to love your wife. The problem is not your wife. The problem is your heart. Develop your heart more and your life will change. And that source of love and forgiveness that I have today for my wife, it all came from my relationship with God. And I would say to all these guys that are so tough that you end up having so many arguments with your wife, hey buddy, get on your knees and pray to God. Ask him to help you to heal your heart, to make your heart better. And your relationship will get 100 times better when your heart changes. It's not your wife. It was me. That was the secret, the number one ingredient for my relationship to become better to where it is today. And it's not perfect. There are days when it's still shit, but I know how to get out of that shit. It doesn't stay shit for long. So I'm not perfect, but it's getting better. You know, sometimes people have asked me, you've been married for 38 years. Have you ever thought that maybe your wife's doing stuff to, sort of spite you? Like, oh, I'll teach him a lesson. Who's not going to think that? Like, especially when your wife doesn't talk to you for a week. Of course, she's teaching you a lesson, right? She's definitely teaching you a lesson if she ain't talking to you for a week. And yeah, there were times, many, many times where I thought, okay, she's reacting the way she's reacting. Not that she wants to hurt or she wants to cause the same feeling, but she's hurt that I hurt her. That's the real truth. Because I really feel that if she was that kind of vindictive kind of personality, we wouldn't even be married today. The reason we've been married for so many years is because she's got a heart of gold. The only time she's ever been a little bit mean to me is not because she was mean, it's because I pissed her off or I hurt her feelings. But I could also say she's not an angel, but I wish she was, right? But I wish that she wouldn't take it out on me so much in those old days. That she was a little bit more forgiving. But that's life. I guess God put her with me to teach me a lesson, because instead of me bulldozing over her, she's sort of like outside with other people. She wouldn't say boo. But with me, it's like, man, you hold it. You're not going any further. And I'm like, what? This quiet person? Nope. This strong, dominant character comes out that I can't bulldoze over her. And it's good because it straightened me out a little. And I like it. And sometimes people say, well, when you do stuff for her, like kind stuff and thoughtfulness, does she maybe give you a foot rub and, give you a massage on your neck? And the answer is no, no, no. Because she knows exactly where it's going to lead. So she ain't going there. Right?